For UTARadio.com, I'm Lorenzo Marconi. Same-sex marriage is now legal in all 50 states due to a recent Supreme Court ruling. So what does the UTA community think about this issue? For some students, the news is a cause for celebration. President of the UTA Gay-Straight Alliance, Becky Kless, says that the ruling feels like a personal victory.
I burst out in tears of joy, tears of relief. My father came in and he said, "Becky, did you hear? Did you hear?" And I'm just crying, sobbing. Yes, Dad, I saw. I was so happy.
Some UTA students don't want to take away others' happiness. They just disagreed with the Supreme Court's legal reasoning. Civil engineering major Danny Braze believes the Supreme Court reached its decision using a vaguely defined section of the Constitution.
So basically, from what I understand, it's the Equal Protection Clause, which is in the Constitution, basically just says that all citizens will be granted equal protection under the law. At the same time, I think it's dangerous. I think we have to be cautious about just saying, well, the Supreme Court can decide whatever that means.
So was it right for the Supreme Court to decide this issue for the rest of the nation?
I have mixed opinions about that. I am very happy to see that it went on a national basis instead of it being determined by the state, because I was thoroughly convinced in the state of Texas that it wouldn't have been in my lifetime that we would have had same-sex marriage legalized.
Still, the Supreme Court was not unanimous in its decision. Chief Justice John Roberts believes the ruling could pave the way for further legal redefinition of marriage. In fact, the idea that the legalization of plural marriage could be next may not be the slippery slope argument of alarmist conservatives.
I believe that as long as all parties are consenting, all parties are happy, they're well, that they should be able to have that right itself. If you have two wives, awesome. If everybody's happy, that's great. If you have a wife and a husband and maybe another husband, awesome. If you're happy and you're not hurting anybody else, then who are we to say who you can and cannot love?
So you do think that the constitutional or the legal argumentation used by the majority opinion could pave the way for that sort of thing?
I see it. I don't see it necessarily happening the next couple years. I see it starting to begin its framework itself.
Issues like that guarantee that the implications of this ruling will be debated for quite some time. One of the most frequent questions surrounding the same-sex marriage issue is whether opposing same-sex marriage is necessarily homophobic.
But is it homophobic? To an extent, depending on how the person sees it and the way their actions speak.
So yeah, if it's the case that you're necessarily a homophobe or a bigot if you don't approve of same-sex marriage, then for one thing, Barack Obama was a bigot or a homophobe until 3 years ago, in 2012, when he switched his position. So, if being only 3 years behind Barack Obama makes me a bigot, I don't feel too bad about that.
In the meantime, Kless would like to see American culture move beyond a mere absence of homophobia to full-fledged acceptance.
I try and achieve acceptance rather than tolerance, because tolerant to me is you tolerate a head cold, or you tolerate the annoying person in front of you in the drive-thru ordering everything on the menu and changing it 5 times. And I don't think I'm a sore or a thorn in anybody's side that I should be tolerated.
I'm Lorenzo Marconi. Stay tuned to UTARadio.com for great music and more stories about people, places, and events at UTA.